What happens when engineers take aim at a biological system that is far more complex, like vision? Restoring the ability to see with an idea that once seemed like science fiction.
Landing rocket arm switches on. Here comes the throttle. Circuit breakers in. We have separation.
The $6 Million Man. I have to say, if there was any inspiration, that show was.
I can't hold it. She's breaking up. She's breaking.
We can rebuild him. We have the technology.
When I was an undergraduate, I became interested in how electronics could be mated with the human body.
For more than 20 years, Phil Troik and his interdisciplinary research group have been pioneering a technology designed to restore some vision to those who have lost the ability to see. We've been using prosthetics to restore our body's abilities for thousands of years.
One of the most useful prosthetics has been the very humble glasses, right? So you have a sense of sight, but then there's a distortion in the curvature of your eye, so then you use a lens to compensate for that.
But this new device takes visual prosthetics to the next level.
The idea is to take the information you capture from a camera and bypass the eyes and optic nerve and go directly to the brain.
The state of neuroengineering is at its infancy with very, very promising avenues for growth. One that has been for a very long time a dream of engineers is to be able to interface with the nervous system.
Phil's group is the first to receive FDA permission to implant into the brain of a blind person a network of wireless stimulators, each just 5 millimeters across.
You see the electrodes sticking out there.
Even if they meet the criteria, the visual, the medical criteria, they have to be willing to embark on brain surgery. It's hard to find someone that fits into all of that criteria.
The team has qualified their first participant, Brian Bussard, who lost his vision completely several years ago.
Does the headband match my shoes?
It does, actually. That's perfect.
I was kidding.
Brian agreed to have a group of these stimulators surgically implanted in his visual cortex.
When you're considering designing something that will be implanted in a person, one of the safety checks is making sure that whatever that thing is, it doesn't actually harm a person.
And how did you sleep last night on a scale of 1 to 10?
For the trial, he is referred to as the participant, not the patient, as his collaboration with the entire team is essential.
I was going to be the first one. In my lifetime, I get to be the first of something that could change people's lives later on. You know, like who was the first person to walk on the moon?
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Artificial vision has really been enabled by advances in imaging technology. The development of incredibly tiny detectors and incredibly tiny communication signaling transmitters have enabled these implantable devices.
The implants in Brian's brain are receivers for signals that in turn stimulate the brain. The coil transmits signals that they hope the brain will interpret as visual information.
Each of those 25 arrays has 16 electrodes that we can stimulate on command. And the goal is to use those electrodes to activate the healthy neurons that are still there and just haven't been receiving normal visual input for a while.
What do I see? Probably the closest thing I would say is if you had blips on a radar screen.
The process requires creating a new kind of visual language.
Imagine getting these funny flashing lights from either a retinal or a cortical prosthesis that don't look anything like what vision used to be. And then your brain is beginning to discover there's a message to the madness. There is some pattern in here. And if I can try to find out how things hang together, then I can learn to understand what's around me.
People used to think, well, we need to recreate the signals from the eyes into that same neural code. But we've seen examples where if you establish an interface with those areas, and you give them a consistent input, the brain will adapt and interpret those as best as it can.
As Brian continues to adapt, the work has progressed from the chair to a smaller cart-sized version of the system, connected by a cord, with researcher Michael Barry pushing the cart and following behind.
So we're putting on the visible light glass.
The basic idea is to capture images with a camera technologically, somehow convert those images to the commands that go to each of these little modules.
Stand up slowly, but to your left.
The first real exciting thing for me was when we added a camera to it. And I went like this with my hand. And then I went like, oh, there's my thumb. So that was the first time in probably 6 years that I had a sensation of vision. That was exciting. It gave me a system.
So what we're going to work on today is a task of finding an open chair. Can you identify which chair is open?
Right there.
Great job.
Yeah, good job.
What we're providing is really a targeting system. It says, for whatever the camera is detecting, is something there. It says where something is, but you don't know what it is.
Let me find the cart. That way we don't pull the cords.
Hey, so do you want to try something infrared?
The team decides to expand the testing to include a camera that can see wavelengths of light beyond what humans can see.
Yep, so now we have the thermal sensor.
Why should you limit your wavelength to the visible range? Why not allow someone to see in the thermal range?
With his limited vision, infrared allows Brian to distinguish people and animals by their body heat.
For this task, you will find there's one occupied chair.
Oh, there's Grace right there. Hi, Grace. Nice to meet you. But you still have the big donut in the back of your head. You still have the wires for the camera. If you walk too fast, well, we can pull the coil. You lose signal, and you got to stop and reset.
There are a lot of technologies that work beautifully in the lab, right, where you have a lot of space, it's dedicated, and everything works well. But the reality is people move, they have their lives. They want to live the way they want to live and be mobile.
Nice to meet you.
With the basic technology working, the team has been building a system that condenses an entire cart of equipment into a wearable device, so Brian can go mobile. The camera records images that are translated by a mini computer into signals his brain can understand. These are then sent through a transmitter and beamed into Brian's implants, reaching his visual cortex.
Okay, so I'm gonna hook this on your belt, okay?
You should be good to go.
We're good to go.
You're freed up.
Trish was right there. She moved. Now she's right there.
I was just going to tell you can walk to me.
I was going to say, well, she's right there.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, so I'm guessing this is tables over here? Or somebody, or something?
So as soon as he didn't have that starting and stopping of trying to keep the cart right behind him, yeah, he just decided to just walk around the room and see what all was here.
Becoming untethered was a big step. It gave me the flexibility to move and try and figure it out quicker or on my own. Okay, there's something here. This is another table.
Yep, so now we have the thermal sensor.
There's somebody right there.
You found me.
Hey.
Watching Brian see his wife without his eyes is a powerful validation of all their hard work.
The moment today when he had on the mobile unit and he walked to his wife and saw her, I just thought that was really a special moment.
She didn't make a sound, but you went to her, you found her in the room.
Do you think, oh my gosh, this man has lost his vision and now he can see something with the help of this engineering system strapped to him? All of these things have come together, all that iteration and testing and protocols.
The door.
It's pretty amazing.
This person is volunteering themselves, they're putting themselves at risk. They're doing so not because they expect to get vision back. It's for advancement of knowledge. It's for what we learn now will make possible what will become standard of care 100 years from now.
Somebody right there. Just from a human standpoint, I think we should be wired that we want to leave the world a better place than it was when we got here.
The following day, the team gathers to review their progress with the mobile system.
Did it accomplish the goal of making you feel more autonomous and liberated?
Well, full disclosure, if it would have been nice out yesterday, it would have been, oops, I made a left-hand turn and go out the door.
Now it's, okay, well, what do we prioritize next?
Probably the next step would be as if we can combine either the two cameras into one or even adding the second visual camera so we can get depth into it.
From an engineering perspective, engineering is not just a technology stemming from math and science. And the question we're asking is, how can an artificial interface like this be used to provide useful sensory information for someone who has blindness? We do have now the interface, albeit in somewhat simpler form than some would like, but we do have the interface and we are now answering the questions.
It's such a high-risk, high-payoff engineering challenge. Giving vision to someone who's visually impaired is just such a holy grail engineering strategy, and they've done it.
Our aspirations are high, and we only get there by making step-by-step incremental progress.
Hi there, Ed. Hey, buddy.
I think we're proud of the fact that maybe we got there first.
Good boy.
I think we're done.